if you want to lose weight and you don't have a whole lot of time to spare, I'm going to give you a piece of advice that's going to make your life a whole lot easier. If fat loss is the goal, less is most definitely more, particularly when it comes to training. So there's a few different things to understand here. Firstly, if you're doing a whole pile of weight training, a lot of different sets, a lot of volume, that can be, needed if you're about to step on a bodybuilding stage where you're trying to hold on to every last piece of lean muscle mass while you're also getting your body fat really, really low. But I mean, I would consider myself to be in pretty lean shape, right now. Probably somewhere around 12 to 15% body fat at 76 kilos. And I did it this year, so let's say coming from about February into May, with very little training volume. So like once you build muscle mass once, you can actually get away with maintaining the majority of that muscle mass with about 2/3, if not 50% of the volume that you initially did to get there. So all I was doing was training about 10 to 12 sets per body part per week. So if you'd imagine you're training twice per week, all that's going to look like is 2 different chest exercises, 2 different quad exercises, 2 different hamstring exercises. Do that twice a week, 3 sets each. That's 6 sets per session. That's 12 sets per week. You don't need any more than that if your goal is to maintain lean muscle mass while losing body fat. The rest of your mental bandwidth and your energy then needs to be allocated to your diet. Now, your diet with the caveat that you're doing the bare amount of activity to regulate your appetite. So some form of step count or cardio, so maybe like 10,000 steps a day, or you're tacking on 20 minutes of low intensity cardio at the end of your sessions, right? But I mean, I put most of my mental energy in the last few months into my coaching business. It wasn't actually into my own training. It's probably one of the times in the last 3 years or so where ironically I've probably had the least amount of my mental bandwidth and my focus directed at my own training, even though I'm coaching other people on how to do it for themselves. But what I've learned in the process, and what a lot of my clients have learned in the process, is that it's actually a very straightforward path where you just have to say no to bad ideas as opposed to doing a whole pile of things to actually get the result. What you need is belief that the process is going to work. You need to invest most of your mental bandwidth, as I said, into just guarding the process of saying no. And then, whatever you've got left over, you just pile it into your work, right? So your fitness habits should really support whatever you're doing in your creative work, in your business, in your purpose in life. I mean, fitness is all about how it's like reproductive health, if I was to break it down to first principles in what fitness actually is. But I mean, aside from that, if we wanted to go a level up, it's just your ability to perform in the world using your body, and the mind is part of the body. So it doesn't need to be this thing where it takes over your life, or you need to train like a bodybuilder or train like an athlete if your main goal is fat loss. So a less is more approach would be what I would encourage you to think about if you are just focused on fat loss. And that is going to be the case for actually most guys, because most guys don't actually have that like ectomorphic kind of naturally thin body type. They're actually like a little bit bigger to begin with, and then they just need to focus on reducing the fat mass while they're weight training. If most guys do that, they will appear as if they've gained a whole shit ton of muscle mass. They'll have the nice wide shoulders in relation to the narrower waistline. So yeah, for the majority of guys, that's going to be the case. If you're someone like myself who's kind of gets the worst of both sides of that equation, where you gain muscle mass fairly slowly, but then you also struggle to lose body fat, because I have the ectomorph genes, but I was overweight as a child due to binge eating, so I have all the fat cells still there, which means that I gain body fat very quickly if I get into a surplus. If you're in that kind of a situation, or what a lot of people refer to as skinny fat, I would say that it's probably best to first just get lean with the knowledge that you're not going to look that big the first time around. But then after you do that once, you need to get into very deliberate bulking and cutting cycles several times over, and that's going to require a lot more mental energy. But if you simply just are a little bit overweight and you want to see what your body looks like lean for the first time, while maintaining the muscle mass that you have, then your path forward is going to be so simple. It's going to involve 10,000 steps per day, or a little bit of cardio after your weight training sessions. It's going to involve 3 to 4 max weight training sessions per week, where you're doing 10 to 12 sets per body group per week. You're going to be in a slight calorie deficit, so maybe like 10 to 15 to 20% off your maintenance, whichever you think is more realistic for you in terms of how much fuel you feel like you need. Personally, for me, I prefer to do 10% and just make it last a little bit longer, whereas other guys like to do the whole 20%, do it more drastically and get it over and done with. So yeah, to do that and then just see out the process. It's literally rinse and repeat while tracking your body weight, making sure that you're present in the process. And then, you know, it's going to be very simple nowadays with the use of like AI GPTs or what have you to help you with tracking your nutrition. But the majority of your energy in this process needs to go towards nutrition, not training, because training will typically only burn about 5 to 10% of your total calories per day anyway. So yeah, most of the mental energy should go into diet, and then after that, you've got a lot more left over to just reinvest into other areas of your life. Follow a less is more approach, but then that means just giving it enough time, having patience to see the process through, which is probably what a lot of high performers struggle with, because we want it all, we want it now, we want it yesterday. But if you can park that need for ego gratification and really invest yourself into the process, you'll learn a lot about yourself, and you'll learn a lot about how sustainable this process actually is for the rest of your life. If you would like help in setting up the ecosystem of habits that's going to make this pretty seamless, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, you can download the Flexible Fat Loss Framework. Link to that is in the description. And yeah, I'm going to get on with my vacation coffee, and I wish you all a good day.